let's recite al-Fatiha, please. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين، خالق الخلائق أجمعين، باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. اللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم إلى قيامة يوم الدين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. يا غريب كربلاء، رزقنا الله في الدنيا زيارتكم وشفاعتكم في الدنيا وفي القبر وفي الآخرة. أما بعد، يقول الله في محكم كتابه وقرآنه المجيد وقوله الحق: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون. ولقد فتنا الذين من قبلهم فليعلمن الله الذين صدقوا وليعلمن الكاذبين. أم حسب الذين يعملون السيئات أن يسبقونا، ساء ما يحكمون. آمنا بالله، صدق الله العلي العظيم. أفلح من يصلي على محمد وآل محمد. ثانيا لحب السيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة الزهراء. ثالث لأعلى الأصوات لحب أبي عبد الله الحسين عليه السلام. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are gathered here tonight, inshallah, to send our condolences. First and foremost, our condolences to that mother that bore him, Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen Fatima al-Zahra, who at the time of giving birth was informed by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam of what types of tragedies this son of hers will have to endure. And in our aqidah, this same lady attends each and every single majlis, each and every single day. That devotion of that mother, that love of that mother, that she, when she was on her deathbed, knew that she would not be there in her son, Abdullah al-Hussein's greatest moment of need, that which we join together to commemorate, to give pursa, to give condolences for. And then, of course, to the two fathers of this nation, Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, and to Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. Of course, also grieved for Imam Hussein alayhi salam prior to the event even happening. This is something that will, of course, be something that we revisit, inshallah, in the upcoming nights. When we look to validate this religion and the usul al-din. We then, of course, send next our condolences to the holy Imam of our time, Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Grieves this year and every year till his return. He will make his way to Karbala. Our hadith mention what he will do in Karbala. Of course, he will reappear between the Rukn and the Maqam. After that, soon after, his mission of justice and truth take him to the land of his grandfather, Karbala. There, open up the holy grave and he will take out that baby, 6-month-old baby. He will show the world what the Muslim Ummah did to their leader's son. He will cry out, what was the sin of this baby? What did it do? Echoing that call of his grandfather today, 1446 years ago, was when he will come back. And finally, we send our condolences to the entirety of the Muslim Ummah, whether they be of this school of thought or other schools of thought. In fact, we send it to the greater humanity, because Imam Hussein alayhi salam, of course, is not something that we claim for ourselves, rather that we share with humanity. And yet, as I just mentioned, is this ummah, unfortunately, that turned their backs on Imam Hussein. Because while everyone will go and say that hubb of Ahlul Bayt is wajib, everyone will go and say that, yes, of course, we love Ahlul Bayt. It is exactly what Imam Hussein alayhi salam himself was told, that قُلُوبُهُمْ مَعَهُمْ وَسُيُوفُهُمْ عَلَيْهِمْ. That, of course, their hearts are with you, ma'ak. وَلَكِنْ سُيُوفُهُمْ عَلَيْكَ. That their swords are on your neck. And so we want to take this Muḥarram to re-evaluate from the beginning, no matter what our age is, whether we are just learning about this tragedy for the first time, or we are learning about this tragedy for the 100th time. It doesn't matter. This tragedy is a call from the divine to renew ourselves, and with these tears do a new wudu and re-enter the courtyard of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reaffirm, of course, with our labbayka ya Hussein, with our labbayka ya Abbas, that central truth of la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah Aliyyun Waliyullah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Because it is this ummah, let us not forget, that somehow took some wrong step or another, or many wrong steps, and eventually ended up in such multitudes against Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Remember, in our aqidah, this is not just some story that happened once upon a time long ago. This is a saga that continues up until today and past us. With the coming of the 12th Imam, Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajuhu al-Sharif, we'll see the final chapter, the Avenger of Karbala. Those of us who regularly read Dua Nudba on Fridays, right? We read, where are you, O you who will take revenge of the blood of Karbala, of the blood of those slain prophets and the sons of those slain prophets? The chief of them being Muhammad Rasulullah, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, his son. That's when it will end. So we find ourselves somewhere in the middle of this saga. So when Sahib Zaman comes back, don't think that we will just be on the sidelines as spectators. We will have a role to play. And it's up to us to decide, are we going to feed that parable that we always hear in our Muḥarram majalis, right? That there are two wolves who are fighting, vying for dominance. One is that Husseini wolf, and one is that Yazidi wolf. And which one wins? Tonight, as Maghrib will gray upon us, and these nights, these holy nights start, and we start to retrace those holy steps that those martyrs wrote with their blood, and we open up those pages. Now the question will become, are we going to do something about it? Is this going to actually change us? Or no, are we going to come into the masjid from one door and out the other? And these lessons, are they going to enter one ear and out the other? That's up to you to decide. That's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's your relationship with Imam al-Hussein, but also Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. So now, we want to come in this Muharram and understand from the basics. Are we on the right religion or not? Because we don't have time to waste. We have generations to raise. And those of us who have already raised a generation or two, we are still in that intidhar mode of Sahib Zaman. And we need to be absolutely sure that what we are on is haqq. Because there are many people who should take some time, in that progression of nafs al-ammara to nafs al-lawwama to nafs al-mutma'inna. Some of those people never even get to the self-accusing self. That nafs al-ammara is all they stay at. That base self, that's all they stay at. The nafs al-lawwama, the one that starts to ask itself questions, they never get there. So, I have no idea about anybody in this community, nor have I been told to speak about this by anybody in the community, nor has anyone requested this topic series. I have been, for the last 3 or 4 years, building up a repository of transformative, revolutionary lecture series for anybody that wants, so that inshallah we raise a group that Sahib al-Zaman can come and say, I am proud of these people. I will now come back and use these. These seeds are now ready for me to come and harvest for my mission. A lot of times we're raised agendas. Sometimes we are raised with the agendas of our parents, sometimes with the agendas of our society, sometimes with the agendas of our masajid, our Husayniyas, our Imam Barbas. And in that somewhere gets lost the agenda of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so it's that return to basics, that self-accusing soul. Am I really on Sirat al-Mustaqim? How do I know that I'm really following what the Imam of the time wants me to follow? Because at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, Malak al-Maut is coming. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullah wa salamu alayhi, says that it is enough for you to know Allah Ta'ala is the one who takes your souls. In front of you is Yawm al-Qiyamah and behind you is Malak al-Maut. And that distance is short. One of the shorter surahs of Juz Amma, right? Allah Ta'ala says, إِنَّكَ كَادِحٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا مُلَاقِيهِ. That famulaqi gives me trembles. Why? Because if you understand the Arabic grammar, then what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in the actual Arabic is that all of a sudden you're just there right in front of him. 1 minute you're working hard, toiling, 1 second after the other, it never lets up. The test never gets easier. If it gets easier, watch out, because that's not a good sign. Your test should always be the same level of difficulty, if not harder. When it gets harder, know that you're going But if it's getting easier, that's when you need to self-evaluate. And then all of a sudden, in front of Allah, oh my God, the time is done. Now I'm already answering for what I have done in this short life. And so, brothers and sisters, when that time comes and Malak al-Maut comes, as I mentioned in my series last year in Muḥarram, in Dallas, that the questioning in the grave, this is muttafaqun alayh bayna sunnah wa shia. Between the two major schools of thought of Ahl Sunnah and Tashayyu, this is something that is agreed upon, confirmed. That one of the first things, if not the first thing, that you will be asked about in your barzakh, in your qabr, your haqa'iq, is your belief system. Many of us know, especially when the talqeen comes, that dead person will soon be asked by Munkar and Nakir and Rabbah. Hada kitabuk. Who's your Lord? Who's his wasi? What's the name of the religion you follow? What's the book that you follow? And many of us have this wrong idea. I went into this in depth last year, but just so that we have at least a common page that we're all starting off on today. Many of us have this wrong idea. I want to correct that. If I just go and sneak into my grave, a little cheat sheet, for those of us who are maybe still in Sunday school, or maybe those of us who are teaching Sunday school, or those of us who are in school or college or university, remember our days in school. Isn't there that crib sheet that maybe you hid inside your cap, or maybe on the back of your hand? Yes? Why can't we just go and do that and just write down, who is your Lord? Allah. Who is your Prophet? Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Who is your wasi? Ali ibn Abi Talib. Who's the one after him? Hassan ibn Ali. The one after him? Hussein ibn Ali. All the way up until we get to Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Mahdi, salawatullah wa salamu alayhim ajma'een. Why can't I just go and write that down? What's my book? The Quran. What's my religion? Islam. We mentioned last year that this is not something that will help us, right? Because over there, you will be in a different realm, number one. Number two, over there, you will realize that here is where you are planting the seeds. Again, we come back to this analogy of planting the seeds. What you have planted over here is exactly what will grow over there. All Munkar and Nakir will do in this analogy is they will come, take this water can, and they will pour, and they'll see, let's see what grows. And for some people, that student of the 5th, 6th, and 7th Imam, Bahlul, once he was asked, who's the God of this book? He happened to be sitting on something. He said, his God is what he sits on. And was some kind of a faqih or something like that. He takes a shoe and starts chasing him around town. Once he gets up, however, the rest of the people saw that he's sitting on his safe, his tijoli, treasure chest. In other words, Bahlul was trying to say, this person is a abid of dunya. As Imam Hussein alayhi salam said, not going to at least follow me, at least be free. Don't be a slave of this world. And yet for some people, all they did in this life was chase one job after another, to the point where if they were ever asked, come to the masjid, come to Salat al-Jum'ah, come to Dua Kumail, in their agenda. And the first time and probably the last time that they ever entered the mosque was for their own janazah. How many times has this been the story of our grandfathers and great-grandfathers? Do you want this to be your story too? Ask yourself, at whatever age you're at, have you really spent enough time in the masjid? And what are you supposed to do in the masjid? Maybe go and read about the seerah of one of the Imam, one of the prophets. Come listen to a lecture, listen to the live lecture. If no one's here, listen to the lecture on your earphones. Yes? But what happens is, you find that people are al-hakum al-takafur. They're distracted by this lahu, al-hakum. Distracted. What's interesting is there's no There's no ending to the, like in Arabic grammar, there's no maf'ul bihi of alhaqum. What distracted you? Everything distracted you, is what Allah means to say. Everything and anything distracted you in this world. Takathur, just you want more and more of it. To the point where even when you were supposed to go to the graveyard and you were supposed to get the lesson over there, that one day we will end up over here, you turn this into a competition too. This is what Allah is crying out to us, saying, oh man, you don't have much time. You're coming back to me soon. And what did we say? When Munkar and Nakir come, they're going to be watering whatever we've been preparing. And so, whatever has been growing is what will naturally come out of my tongue. And so, if my God really was dunya, I won't have any choice. When they say, who is your Lord? I will say dunya. I will say my family. You know, there are people, I hear the stories of, that, you know, they go into retirement and now they want to go the extra step, and they want to buy a house for each and every single one of their sons and daughters. You ask the sons and daughters, is this something that you asked for? No. We want our father to go and spend time with us. We want our mother to go and stop going up the scales of corporate America, corporate Canada, Australia, UK, wherever, and we want them to spend time with us. No. I have to go and make sure that there's a 3-bed, 2-bath house deeded to each and every single one of my 6 kids. But look, at the end of the day, you're not a prince of an Arab country. You don't have oil reserves. Okay? You don't have that type of, time. You don't have that type of wealth. Inshallah, if Allah blesses you, go ahead, do that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with looking after your kids. But you're acting as if there's no razik after you. That once you die, Allah dies. Allah was there before you. He's there with you. He's there after you. Right? But sometimes we don't understand these simple lessons. And that's why it's important for us to revive these types of majalis, so that these types of reminders, as well as others, course correct us before it's too late. لا صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Have another loud salawat in honor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Another one for Imam Sa'id al-Asri was Zaman. So I'll give you an analogy of how exactly these answers will come. And we'll do, as I like to do in so many communities, a math experiment. If I were to ask you, and I want audience participation over here from the live audience, those of you who are at home, inshallah, you can scream at your televisions and your screens. No one will, know over here. But if I were to ask you, what is 2 plus 2? What is 2 plus 2? What is 2 plus 2? I don't hear an answer, Seattle. 2 plus 2, 4. Okay. So math is still, alhamdulillah, you guys work at Amazon and Microsoft, so our computers and our Amazon deliveries are open. But now if I were to go and ask you a little bit of a tougher question, and I ask you, what is 5 times 7? What is 5 times 7? 35. Okay, alhamdulillah. And now if I ask you the hardest question of them all, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ready to see the Salat al-Janazah prayed over all of the marriages, yes? Once they faint. What's 12 times 13? What's 12 times 13? What's 12 times 13? What's 12? 156. But it took some time, right? And only one person over here was able to answer it. And alhamdulillah, he was able to answer it correctly. Let's have a loud salawat. Don't worry. It's not like we have calculators on our phones, right? But remember, in Barzakh, there's not going to be calculators. Why was 2 plus 2 or 2 times 2 so easy to answer? Why was 5 times 7 just a little bit easy, a little bit harder to answer? And why was 12 times 13 for so many of you? And you guys were looking for the school bell, like, oh my God, is Majlis done or is the school done? What is this? What's happening to me? I thought we graduated from school and we never had to learn about math again. The reason is because 2 times 2 is something that you use in your day-to-day life. In your every day-to-day examples, you'll go and cite. Hey, come on, this is as easy as 2 times 2. But you don't use 5 times 7 in your everyday parlance. And some of you only learned your 12 times table multiplication and 12 times 13. Oh my God, I know 12 times 12 is 144. But ask them to go and add 12 to 144. And oh my God, this is it. Where, I hope Munkar and Nakir don't ask you math. Point is, what's natural to you, what comes immediately without having to think, that's what you can expect to have as your answers. So, we have a hadith from Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. That someone was asked, a Muslim was asked, brothers and sisters, take heed. We call ourselves Muslims, and yet this person in his qabr, remember, time is relative. Einstein has already proved this to us. And in that dimension, time is immaterial. We can take as many years as we want. Someone was asked, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is saying, who is your prophet? And it took him in earth years, 70 to 80 years to remember. Oh yeah, that one who brought the Quran. How hard is it? Some of us are even named Muhammad. How hard is it to remember that your prophet is Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? No, brothers and sisters. Rasulullah deserves an even louder salawat. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. How hard is it in Qamar to remember? Why? Because Munkar and Nakir, as some of you who have read the riwayat have heard, their appearances start off very scary. Munkar and Nakir, eventually, as you give one right answer after another, turn into Mubashir and Bashir. But until then, their eyes are like lightning. They're taller than the mountains that you have over here in Seattle. They have huge clubs to go and beat people with wrong answers. They're very intimidating to go and answer. So now I want you to go and take those answers that you just gave so helpfully of 2 times 2, 5 times 7, 12 times 13. And I want you to imagine, because they gave me a little bit of a tour of this masjid a day or two in advance. So according to my Bendu interpretation, there's only one exit and one entrance. Yes, that one and this one over here, right next to me, covered by the La Samahallah. May God forbid. But an active shooter comes in through one. And I stand in front of the other door. I go and put my hands together like this, and I start asking you math questions. Like, brother, I mean, come on. What time for us? Munkar and Nakir are going to be so intimidating. Don't forget your own name. And so what you lived by, what you implemented in your daily life, did you really live like there was La ilaha illallah? Did you really live Muhammad Rasulullah? Did you really live like Ali? If not, don't expect miracles to come over there. Don't expect that in Qabr, in Barzakh, Ahlul Bayt will, oh my God, they'll come over there to help you. Everything will be la-di-da. No. Come to the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam says that we have you covered when it comes to Yawm al-Qiyamah, but we fear for you in Barzakh. Why? Because you're going to be on your own. There, you have to go through this journey of what you lived on your life and replay that on your own. Wherever you did go and bring in wilayah, yes, it will be as a safeguard for you. Those moments where wilayah left the equation and shaitan entered the equation, expect for some difficulty. Yes. Those of us who are used to flying on planes, immediately the name of Allah comes as soon as there's turbulence. Even the atheist, the Chinese person, you go and ask them, what are they muttering in Cantonese and Mandarin? And God, their ancestors, or whatever they pray to. Yes? That's not the only place Allah exists. Allah exists everywhere. It's just, do we realize it? So many times in the comfort of our own rooms, Aly Lakhani says, never be alone, especially if you're prone to surround yourself. And so we want to go and make sure that we have correct beliefs. So with other religions, what you'll find is when it comes to the books, when it comes to Quran, it's not a secret that nobody reads books. Forget about the scriptures. Nobody even reads regular books. It's difficult enough to go and convince someone to go and read an audiobook. But reading the scripture, reading a holy book, 21st century, who has time for that? So when the thought enters the person's mind, let's take the Christian as an example of what if my religion is wrong? What if my book is wrong? What if it's fabricated? What does the Christian do? He goes and starts reading the Bible. And once he reads the Bible, and I can give names, and I don't want to give names because this will be embarrassing for some of those who have left and maybe for some of those families. But they're famous professors even. They're the leading academic scholars of the New Testament. Why are they the leading New Testament scholars? Because they read the Bible, they found inconsistencies, incongruencies, and they themselves couldn't come to terms with it. And so what they did is they started going to, for example, the Nag Hammadi files. They started going to the scholars of the Old Testament and the New Testament. They started learning Hebrew, started learning Koine Greek. And what did they do? They found layers and layers and layers of cover-ups. And eventually they lost their faith. What started as a doubt eventually led to complete rejection of the religion. But what happens with the Muslim is a kind of a different path that Shaitan has us take. You want me to tell you what Shaitan has us do? Yes. Shaitan comes and tells us, first he starts us off with the same, we start off with the same innocent doubt. What if we're not actually following the right religion? That's a fine, that's not something that we as parents should hammer out of our kids. It's something that we should encourage. We should have the answers. That's why this series is going to be, inshallah, so pivotal and important, not only for our kids who are learning this for the first time, but for those whose kids don't even want to listen and come to the message. You, the parents, I can't, they're not going to come and listen to me. Look at me. They're not going to come and look at me. They're not going to listen to me. And inshallah, they haven't shut you out of their lives. And some of you have friends like this. And right? For those of you who have watched, inshallah, you're good Muslims, right? And you've watched Inside Out too. And the family island was so small, but Friendship Island was so big, yeah? If not, it's okay. You can go do wudu and do a istighfar. So we learned, even if not through our own lives, through the movies, that friends have this pivotal role in influencing our friends. So if your friend has these kinds of shahwat, these wahams, it's okay. You now, inshallah, will be equipped with sound answers that hopefully you can go and continue a conversation with them. Maybe you couldn't have done. So when it comes to the Muslim, fine, we come with the question of what if my religion is not the correct one? But then we fall into the trap of, I don't know, maybe if this religion is not right, nothing is right. Because Shaitan comes to us and attacks us with another thought as well. Now look, if there is such a thing as absolute truth, it can't be over here. It has to be somewhere out there. You might have to go, for 40 days, khalwa in a mountain or something. If you meditate and chant something that a guru goes and tells you, maybe you'll go and find inner peace. This, it doesn't make sense. And that's something, brothers and sisters, that's another problem. Hopefully this series will try to address. One of these problems is custom fit tailor religion. I pick and choose whatever I like and I leave whatever doesn't make sense to me. Or whatever I can rationalize, I'll take. Whatever I can't understand, keep this off to the side, that's for somebody else. This is wrong. This is not correct. Why? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sacrifices his blood, his tears, his sweat into bringing down a heavenly religion after the last one from Isa ibn Maryam was corrupted beyond recognition. Yes, with all due love and respect to my Christian brothers and sisters, but from our aqidah, this is not any longer the religion of Jesus. Jesus never preached that he was God. And so this poor prophet of ours, who is so tortured, brings down a heavenly religion from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Jibreel to us so that we can have a chance at najat, at salvation. And then he goes and offers one beloved family member of his after another. From Fatima to Zahra, who dies as Shahid. From Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, who dies as Shahid. From Imam Hassan alayhi salam, who dies as Shahid. And of course, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who dies the biggest shahada, so that we can have an Islam that is intact and not corrupted by any kind of Yazid or Yazidi force. Yazid also wanted to go and have a convenient religion. Okay, let me play some music. Who's it hurting? Many of us have this, idea of, if I'm not hurting anyone, don't tell me not to do this. We don't understand. Let me go back to the airplane analogy. If I were to ask you to go and sit in the pilot's seat, for those of you who are not pilots, I don't think we have many pilots, right? Seattle Airport seems to be a very small airport. Probably we don't have many airport pilots that I'm offending. But if I ask you to go and sit in the pilot's seat, I ask you to go and fly a plane. All those gadgets, gizmos, and buttons, and switches. Are you going to be able to even take off correctly? Inshallah, you don't kill anybody on the tarmac. If you're not able to go and take something physically and just go and do whatever you want with it and expect it to fly, I'll give you an easier example, right? Because many of you are tech users. You are trying to log into a Wi-Fi. How picky is that password? How picky is the password to get into your email? If there's a capital letter somewhere in there and you miss it, or an exclamation point, Baba, it's just an exclamation point. Leave it alone. It's okay. I got the rest of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? If I didn't get 8 or an exclamation point, you're going to kick me out? Come on. I'm old. I'm young. I don't know the mechanics of an email. I don't know the mechanics of a plane. Does the physical world give you leeway like this? Or no? Are there going to be ethics board committees that are going to be investigating the deaths of an entire aircraft, the outage of an entire email server? If Amazon, la samahullah, God forbid, goes down, and we're not able to go and have our overnight shipping because someone made an arrow of a simple 0 and a 1. Ooh, you think Jeff Bezos is going to let that person keep their job? And yet, you expect something that you can't even see, the ghaib, where Rasulullah has been sent with specific instructions, and the Ahlul Bayt have completely elaborated on that. You say, no, I'm going to go and do this on my own. And I'm going to go and fly this plane, this aircraft, by myself all the way to Jannah. That's very confident of you. I wish you the best of luck. Let me tell you something, you're not going to get off the ground. Why do we need religion, brothers and sisters? Number one, this is something that's debated in the colleges. This is debated by our atheist professors who are trying to go and sow the seeds of doubt into us. Why do we even need religion? I can be a good person without religion, they say. The reason why we need religion is because without religion, religion is nothing but rights. That's why one of the first pieces of literature that I like to give to a non-Muslim is not the Quran. Quran is very difficult. Quran, how many of our youth have you seen pick up a bad translation of the Quran? And even if they do, they read 1 or 2 ayahs and they're like, I can't make sense of it. It doesn't make sense. It's not for me. Right? They leave religion without even opening the book. And if they do open the book, they have such a bad, archaic translation that they can't make heads or tails of. And then if that doesn't make sense to them, like, you know what? I'm going to pick and choose the ayahs that make sense to me. I honestly don't blame them. This is something that we need to, keep updated with the times. May Allah bless Abdullah Yusuf Ali for, his translation, and Marmaduke Pickthall, and, even Abdul Halim. Abdul Halim has, revolutionized the game by putting it into paragraphs. May Allah bless him. You need a robust translation that, we can work with, that answers our questions. The Quran is designed by the author for you to ask questions. And some of these translations fall into the trap of giving you the bad translation and you walk out with more questions than you entered with. Now, we're not going to expand the scope of this series to go and answer all of our questions. And we're not going to get too philosophical. I'm going to do what I can, and inshallah, the rest is up to our scholars who are much more qualified than I am. Sallu ala Muhammad. So why do we need religion? Because we need a grounded, actualized system, an absolute system of rights. And what comes with rights? Everybody wants to hear about rights. When it comes to the wife's rights, every sister will come to Salat al-Jumu'ah. Tell me all of them. And the husbands, there was one country that used to have to go and, drive their wives everywhere. Now they've been over there. If husbands don't want to come to that khutbah, as soon as the Maulana says, hey, next week's khutbah will be the husband's rights, they show up and the men all show up. And when it comes to the responsibilities, exact opposite. When it comes to the responsibilities of the wife wants to show up. And when it comes to the responsibilities of the husband, none of the husbands want to show up. It's not a surprise. But guess what? In this religion, it's not just husbands and wives. Your creator, your master. Because he's a Rabb. Rabb doesn't mean Lord. Lord is a bad translation. Rabb means, in most of the occurrences in the Quran, means master. Why? Because he is Rabbul Alameen. And what do we ask for that we are in return in Surah Al-Fatiha? Iyaka na'budu. And we are his slaves. Master has slaves. And a slave doesn't get to dictate to the master how the religion is going to be. قُلْ أَتُعَلِّمُونَ اللَّهَ بِدِينِكُمْ. You're going to come and teach Allah your religion now? This is how it's going to be. This is the dynamic. That I send you 124,000 prophets. I send you 12 imams. And now you're going to go and tell me how it works. MashaAllah. A minute ago on this clock of the world, you were a drop. You weren't even inside your mother yet. You weren't even lam yakun shay'an madkura. And now you're ready to go and start debating with me, the creator. That's cute. Honestly, brothers and sisters, the jur'ah sometimes that we have, whether we implicitly or explicitly think it, say it, whatever. The kinds of feelings, the kinds of thoughts, the kinds of attitude that we show to Allah, it's so true what Allah Ta'ala said at the end of Surah Al-Hajj. مَا قَدَرَ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. They didn't give me the correct estimation that I deserve. You know who Allah is? You don't know who Allah is. You don't know who you're dealing with. When that moment happens, then you will. But then it'll be too late. Imam Ali says that this dunya is where there's a'mal and no reward. And there will only be reward and no more a'mal. There's no more chances to go back. قَالَ رَبِّ ارْجِعُونَ. So Mu'minun says, my Lord, send me back so that I can go and try to go and do something good. Allah says, these are just words. As soon as we go and put him back into the wrappings, into the distractions of this dunya, distracted again, and we'll go back to his ways. These are just words. Right now, here at Akhirah, all of you've been completely unwrapped. You're back to exactly how you were when we sent you into the world. None of your wrappings. No status, no family, no job, no nothing. You're nothing. You'll return. This is why Hajj, you go. It's a hub for you to go and put that as part of your coffin. Why? Because when you're in your coffin, you're just in those two pieces of cloth. You don't have your business suit. You don't have your Louis Vuitton and your Gucci and or your Jimmy Choo shoes and whatever else gave you status. Bags. إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ. If you have that that knows that I was mubri' lid-dhimma. What does mubri' lid-dhimma mean? Mubri' lid-dhimma means I know that the collar, the obligation that was due from my master upon me, that right that I owe him, I did what I was supposed to do. I followed to the T what my master, Sahib al-Zaman, wanted from me. I did, and he left for us the mujtahids, the maraja. I did exactly what they wanted. It's very easy. But we make it complicated. We start introducing other factors. So, I don't want to take too much time, but We see that, after we realize, why even do we need it? If we were to go and say that for our actions, fitra is enough, ask yourself, where was the fitra when those Arabs, those Jahil Arabs, were bearing their daughters alive? Wasn't the fitra enough? But the fitra will give you, up until a certain point. It'll tell you not to lie, respect your parents, don't cheat, basic stuff. Past that, complex morality. If you doubt me, sit in a philosophy 101 class. As soon as they come to the train problem, right, where there's 5 people over here and 1 over here, this is a little bit difficult. As soon as you say the 1, say, okay, but what if this was your prophet? What if this was Rasulullah and these are 5 atheists? Does that change the equation to you? And now you start having to deal with all of these complex moral equations, and you don't know what to do. Come to Muhammad and Ali. They've done all of the work for you. All you have to do for 70 to 80 years, keep your ego under control, follow them, and inshallah, you have an eternity of Jannah waiting for you. We can have whatever you want. Does that sound so bad? But for those who are mutakabbirin over here, arrogant ones who want to go and make sure that their way is known by everybody and they have to go and trailblazers and pave their own path, okay, Allah Ta'ala will go and do exactly what is necessary. For the people who are arrogant, He will. You weren't humble here in this world, you will be humbled. Show them who's one. I'll save us. And so, brothers and sisters, we look to religion not as something fake. We don't have time for fake things. Yes, some of the atheist professors, they come and tell us, no, why are you wasting your time? We can go and manufacture our own reality with this. This religion, it was just made out of fear. Final point, and then inshallah we will move on to the Sira for tonight. One final point. Why are there so many religions, right? We say that we need religion, but then the atheist can come back and say to us, this religion that you like so much, why are there so many of them? This religion that you like so much, why is it the cause of so many wars? Why is it the cause of so much violence? First of all, a quick reply. We say, no, this is not true. You're using the current geopolitical situation to color our lens. Anything viewed through a rose-colored lens will look rose-colored. Lately, of course, after 9/11, after certain groups have come out, yes, it looks like religion is the culprit behind all of these. You look at the most violent, the most fierce wars that have ever been fought in history, the most fierce eradications of humanity at the hands of communism in Mao Zedong's China, and Vladimir Lenin's Soviet Union, yes, and in Stalin's Soviet Union, in Hitler's Germany. What was the driving ideology over there? Socialism and communism and all of these kind of Fidel Castro. Yes. These were way more violent than Islam or Christianity, the Crusades, whatever you want to bring up. There's no comparison. 50 to 70 million people died, brothers and sisters, in World War II. And they can come and bring the card, oh, Hitler was a Christian. Was he fighting in the name of Christianity? He had a political ideology. So number one, we disagree with this argument that religion only brings corruption, chaos, and whatever. Okay? Second, as one of my teachers quoted from his teachers in the Hausa, do you ever see a counterfeit $200 bill? No. Ponder that. Why? Why do you only see counterfeits? 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s. Something real to act like. When there's something substantive, when there's something real, everybody else wants to have that type of experience, and through that impose their say, impose their power. It's not a secret. And it's very easy to deduce which religions are man-made, very easily. There have been many people who have converted out of those religions. You might say, well, what about Islam? People are converting out of this too. We'll address all of these in the upcoming nights, inshallah. Tomorrow night, we will start off with, is there a God? Why do we need to believe in God? Inshallah, we will deal with that tomorrow. But tonight, brothers and sisters, we want to commemorate a great man by the name of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Tonight, a night like tonight, he leaves the holy city of Medina. And as he's leaving the city of Medina, there are a number of graves that he has to bid his final farewell to. I want you to take your hearts, those of you who have been to Umrah, those of you who have been to Hajj, those of you who have been to Ziyarah in the blessed land of Medina, to take your hearts to the land of Baqi. How hard was it to go and read that final Ziyarah? Imam al-Hassan, Imam Zain al-Abidin, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. How hard was it to bid farewell to Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam? Imam Hussein alayhi salam is confronted by the powers that be in Medina. He hears that soon they will ask for his bay'ah. When they ask for his bay'ah, there will not be much time left. He avoids them and he goes to do ziyarah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As he is bidding farewell, he says, Rasulullah, Anajan, I don't want to go. But these people, your people, they're forcing me out of the city. I don't have a choice. Now, this is the final goodbye between me and you. Imagine you have lived your whole entire life in the city of the Prophet. You grew up and the Prophet was there for you. He dies and you were there at his bedside. You live the rest of your life and he is there in Medina still. No one is forcing you to leave. Now, you know that this is the qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The time has now come. And so he comes to the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he starts offering his prayers, his night prayers. He starts offering the prayer of ziyarah. He starts kissing the grave of Rasulullah. He eventually loses consciousness for a few moments and he sees a dream. And these are one of those types of dreams, brothers and sisters, that is reality. He sees the reality and he sees his grandfather, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, come to him in the dream. And Rasulullah says to him, "Oh my son, Abu Abdullah Hussein, your time is coming near. Come to me." And he hugs him in the dream and he presses him against his chest. And he says, "Soon you will be reunited with us. Soon you will see your father. You will see your mother. You will see your brother. How eager they are to see you. How eager I am to see you. You've been very patient in the midst of Muawiyah and now his son Yazid, and your time is coming to an end. Know, O Hussein, that Allah has decreed shahada for you. And there is a station in paradise that none can attain unless they go through the doors of shahada. This is written for you, Hussein. And whether you like it or not, you have to go through this path. Through you, Islam will be saved. Others will be able to benefit from this path that I worked so hard for because of your sacrifice, Ya Hussein. Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, Ya Jaddi, Ya Rasulullah, I don't want to go back to the world. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that he takes my life here in this dream. I miss you so much. He says, this is not something that Allah has allowed. He wants to see you lying in front of my people, plains of Karbala. He wants to see you drenched in your own blood. He wants to see you having sacrificed all of your friends and then all of your family, up until even the baby boy that was just born a few days ago. Remember, Ali al-Asghar was just born a few days ago in Medina. Imam Hussein alayhi salam waits 7 days, does the aqiqah, shaves his head, and he says, this is the final warrior of this 6-month-old baby. There are other riwayats that inshallah I will mention on the night of Ali al-Asghar that are too powerful for a night like tonight. But know that his night is coming too, where even he is going to be asked to sacrifice even his young life, and his arms are going to be flailing because he is nothing more than the son of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That's his only crime, brothers and sisters. When he came out with his father and they said to him, his mother has no milk. and he is thirsty. Please, can you just spare a little bit of water? He is dry, his lips are dry. Don't leave anything for me. I will leave the baby over here on this rock. Come and give water to him, and I will come and take him back. If you don't think that I am truthful and I am not trustworthy enough, then I will take water for myself. I will leave the baby over here. That baby, brothers and sisters, that's the one that Rasulullah is telling his young grandson, Imam Hussein, that even this one will have to be sacrificed. All of this is coming soon. And the night's coming up for us, but the month's coming up for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He says his final farewells. He wakes up from this dream and he is already in tears. He says, Ya Jadda, Ya Rasulullah, ما أشوقني القلب إليك يا رسول الله. How much I miss you, Ya Rasulullah. How much I miss your scent, Ya Rasulullah. As you know, brothers and sisters, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam was born, Rasulullah had heavy footsteps and he came crying to Fatima Zahra. And she said, is there something wrong with my son? No, Ya Fatima, his death will be unlike any other death. He will be killed by my people thirsty. On that day, I will not be there for him, nor will Ali be there for him, nor will you be there for him, nor will his brother Hassan be there for him. On that day, any of his Shia who cry for him, you, O Zahra, will be able to do shafa'ah for them, and you will be able to take them like a bird takes their offspring into Jannah. O Zahra, I give you condolences first before anyone of this young grandson of mine. Would you like to see what will happen to him? And Rasulullah shows his two fingers, opens them up, and between the two fingers, Sayyidah Zahra sees exactly the reality of what will happen to Imam al-Hussein. He shows Imam Ali alayhi salam and he sees what will happen to his son. Later, when Rasulullah is about to die, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein alayhi salam go onto the chest of Rasulullah. And Imam Ali alayhi salam, to give Rasulullah some comfort, comes to take Hassan and Hussein away from the chest of Rasulullah. Rasulullah says, دعني على وجهك, دعني على صدري يا علي. Leave them on my chest, O Ali. I want to die, having smelt their smell. I want them to have some few moments with me, because as soon as I die, O Ali, the troubles will come. No one will leave them alone. The troubles will come on you, on my daughter Zahra, and they will come on Hussein and Hassan, and no one will be there to protect them. These final few moments are where they will have protection. After me, O Ali, there will be no one to protect them from the Muslims. Imam Hussein alayhi salam got to share those final few moments with Rasulullah. Now these are the final moments with the physical qabr of Rasulullah before Imam Hussein alayhi salam takes his family from that safe city of Medina and he continues to Mecca. على لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Raise your hands, brothers and sisters, in dua. These tears are holy. There are many who are in the hospital right now. Many who have asked for your du'as, who waited for you to shed these holy tears, who waited for the shafa'ah of these tears. Wipe your tears and raise your hands in dua. We will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 10 times in His holy name. Bismika ya Allah, ya Allah, ya Allah, ya Allah, ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya إلهي بفاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها اكشف عنا السوء يا الله. اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا، كفر عنا سيئاتنا، وتوفنا مع الأبرار مع محمد وآله الأطهار، وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والجالسين والحاضرين والشهداء والعلماء نقرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة تسبقها بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.